Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today we're having a home cooked meal. I sauteed, or I don't know, I pan fried a couple of burger patties. They're 80/20. There's some American cheese with some grilled onions and a tomato. I have pickles on the side. And then these are my homemade, actually this is the first time I've made them in my air fryer. They're homemade fries. And they're seasoned with some Johnny's, is that what it is? No. Lowry's seasoned salt. I have some ketchup, ranch, and then some strawberries because they need to get eaten. Yeah, so let's dig in. Today I'm going to be covering a true crime case, but let's take a few bites first. I decided to do low carb. Well, I guess, I don't know. I have fries, so whatever. I mean, it's a somewhat healthy meal, right? Oh my god. So I seasoned the meat with salt, pepper, garlic salt, and pepper. Perfectly. It's pretty good. I cooked these for about 20 minutes on 400 in my air fryer, and I sprayed them with a little bit of Pam spray. Okay. To drink, I'm just having water. So today I'm going to be talking about Ward Weaver the Third. This is a story or a true crime that happened here in Oregon. Happened in Oregon City, just south of Portland, on the outskirt of Portland. So this happened back in 2002. On January 9th, Ashley Pond, she never showed up to school. She never got on the bus. She was last seen, she left for school in the morning, and she walked to the top of the hill from her apartment complex and never ended up getting on the bus to go to school that day. It's a quiet town. Nothing really ever happens in that town. The apartment complex she lives in is a low-income housing, so there's a lot of single mothers or single parents that have kids. There's a bunch of kids in the apartment complex. She had a troubled childhood, and so she had typical preteen, anger, but it seemed like she was getting on the right track with her attitude. But when she didn't return home from school that day, her family thought that maybe she had just run away because she had had such a troubled childhood. But after a week of not hearing from her. You know, her family just thought maybe she would pop up, but she never did. Didn't get a phone call or anything. Didn't hear from her. And so that's when they knew something more serious had happened. Let me try a strawberry. Months go by. They haven't heard, they don't have any leads. I believe at this point the FBI is already involved because there's still no sign of her. So a couple months go by. And Miranda Gaddis goes missing on March 8th, 2002. And it was the same scenario. She left for school at 7:30. Didn't make it to the bus stop, didn't get on the bus, didn't show up to school. I think it was her mom, had been searching for her around town, couldn't find her, and then reported her missing. She was 13 years old. So when she goes missing and the police are notified, the FBI immediately forms a task force because Ashley and Miranda are from the same apartment complex. They hang out with the same friends. They go to the same school. And so the FBI said it has to be somebody they know. Sorry, it's just so good. They did background checks. They immediately looked up all sex offenders within 1 to 2 hours from where they live. And the list was extensive. Still, there were no clues. So once the task force is set up, they're immediately assuming homicide, possibly double homicide, because now there's 2 girls that are missing and there's no crime scene. There's no sign of them anywhere. So the FBI checks all of the sex offenders. There was 900 plus, or about 900, a list of about 900 sex offenders that were within a 1 to 2 hour radius of their hometown where the girls went missing. They did background checks of delivery people that were visiting the complex from that time frame, everybody. And they had some people that they had their eye on, but they never could rule them out as like their number one suspect or anything because there was no evidence anywhere. There was nothing. There was no bodies. There was none of their clothing. Nobody had heard from them or anything. Pretty soon, neighbors start talking about this guy, Ward Weaver. Ward Weaver lives at the top of the hill, which is really close to where the bus stop is that the girls would take. He also has a 12-year-old daughter who was friends with Ashley and Miranda. I believe his daughter was on the same dance team as Ashley. Ashley was 12, his daughter is 12, so they were in the same grade. They were good friends. Ashley was always over at Ward Weaver's house. I guess a lot of girls went over there. He was known as the neighborhood dad. He would give the girls advice. He'd have sleepovers at his house. The girls kind of confided in him, and a lot of the girls didn't have a father figure, so they kind of looked to him as like the neighborhood father. Yeah. So then comes June. There's a few months have gone by and people have started to look at Ward Weaver. They look into his past. He has a sketchy past. In the past, he's assaulted his girlfriend. He has an ex-wife that he assaulted. He did an interview in June 2002. Those you can find on YouTube. I'm sure you can find them on news stations. And he basically self-proclaimed that he was FBI's number one suspect. and but he would say that he was innocent. There's no reason why he should be the number one suspect. But he said that himself. The FBI had never said who their number one suspect was or anything. He was basically said that he was the number one suspect. And that is on his interview. And the interview that he did was with a news reporter, I believe. These fries are really good. This is one russet potato. So by July, he's doing interviews to any news station that will listen to him. The neighbors are starting to speak out because they looked into his past and realized that his father, Ward Weaver II, was in prison in California awaiting on death row. And his father was convicted of murdering 2 people, one of which was a girl that he raped and then buried her body in cement on his property. And that was in California. So neighbors were speaking out saying they want so he had done an interview where it shows him walking over a cement slab that looked like it was freshly done in his backyard. And so neighbors were speaking out saying that they want it dug up. They were posting signs in his yard saying dig it up. And his ex-wife was speaking out saying that he abused her physically. He smashed a frying pan over her head. Just people were speaking up and wanted him to be looked into, but the FBI wasn't doing anything, or so it looked like the FBI wasn't doing anything. But they didn't have any warrant. They didn't have any evidence to get a search warrant to search his property. By August, he is feeling the heat. The neighbors are wanting the FBI to look into him. He starts planning to move. He quits his job, he puts his stuff in storage, and he's planning to move to Idaho. On August 13th, he's got his stuff ready to move. His 19-year-old son and his girlfriend are helping him, but his 19-year-old had to go to work, and so it was just Ward and his son's girlfriend. Ward ends up attacking his son's girlfriend, strangling her, or attempts to strangle her and rape her. She manages to get away, and I think she was halfway dressed or half undressed, and she called 911. Ward Weaver then tries to flee. He's later caught, and it's all caught on camera. A news helicopter, catches it on camera when he is arrested. Not even a mile or two down from his house. By that time, August 23rd, so that was in August 13th when he was arrested. August 23rd, the FBI gets a warrant to search his property. So, 10 days later? They search his shed, and they immediately found Miranda Gaddis. They found her body in the fetal position inside of a microwave box in the shed. Her body was found to where she was holding her ankles. She didn't have any clothes on, and it was decomposed, obviously. So once they found her, the neighborhood was shocked, but everybody suspected it. The next day, they proceeded to dig up the concrete slab that was there, and that had to be done meticulously because they had to inspect every speck of dirt to make sure it wasn't bone. Eventually, they found 3 5-gallon barrels that were underneath there, and Ashley's body was inside one of them. The way Ashley's body was found, it seemed to have been well preserved. It was less decomposed than Miranda's. Ashley is the one that went missing first. So they assume that he had her in a box freezer that he had in his kitchen. And we know that because in one of the interviews that he did with the news station, there was a freezer there. And he had always kept it locked. I don't remember who said that he always kept it locked. That was crunchy. But I remember reading it somewhere. And only he had a key to it. And it was fairly new. So, their bodies are found. He goes to be indicted. He's indicted on 17 charges. Of those 17 charges, the majority of them were for the murders of Ashley and Miranda. And there was one charge there for probably attempted murder and attempted rape of his son's girlfriend. And then also comes out that Ashley had gone on vacation with Ward Weaver and his daughter. And while they were there, they came back and Ashley accused him of molesting her. And so that's what we think is Ward Weaver's motive for killing her. Miranda also would tell the kids, Miranda knew about it and would tell the neighborhood girls not to go over to Ward Weaver's house because he might molest you. So he was feeling that pressure from Miranda and all the girls. Nobody wanted to be friends with his daughter because of what people were saying about him. And then Miranda goes missing. So he was arrested in August 2002. In December, he starts acting crazy. Then he gets sent to a mental evaluation, and the judge sees him not fit for trial, so it gets prolonged and delayed. Eventually, in September 2004, he's heavily medicated, and the judge sees him fit for trial. So he's up for the death penalty. So in September 2004, when he's heavily medicated, he strikes a plea bargain as long as it's okay with the parents of Ashley and Miranda that he plead guilty to all charges in exchange for him getting life without the possibility of parole instead of the death penalty. So he's sitting in jail for life. No possibility of parole. Back in 2009, Miranda's sister, Mariah, I think she was a couple years younger than Miranda at the time that she went missing. Mariah had been, I guess, writing letters to Ward Weaver and eventually ended up going to see him in prison. And there, she basically just said, "Why did you do it?" Because he hadn't spoken up about anything to anyone. Another reason why he pled guilty is because his daughter had wrote him in jail basically saying, "Do not go through with the trial, because if you do, you're going to have me testify against you." And after that, he ended up pleading guilty. So 4 years later, Miranda's little sister, Mariah, she starts writing to Ward Weaver and ends up going to visit him in prison. While she's there, she asks him, Why did you do it? And because at this point, he hasn't spoken up to anybody about anything. He just, nobody knows why. Nobody knows where he killed them, how he killed them, or what he did with the bodies before he buried them, before they were found. So Mariah goes up and he basically says that Ashley deserved it. He didn't feel guilty about killing her. And he said the only reason why he killed Mariah is because, and he felt sorry for killing Mariah. And the only reason why he killed her is because he thought she had seen him moving Ashley's body from the house to the cement or whatever. He said he burned their clothes and their backpacks. Their shoes, everything. What makes this case so interesting is that his dad and him both had the same type of past. Abusive mothers, fathers that were not present. One was in the Navy, one was in the Marine Corps, I believe. They're abusive to their wives. And now they're both sitting on death row. One has life in prison, and I believe his dad is still sitting in prison on death row. And what makes it even more interesting is that his son, Francis, the one that he tried to rape and strangle his girlfriend, he is now sitting in prison with life for the attempted murder of, I don't remember who it was. I didn't look too much into it, but he's now sitting in prison. And so there was a few documentaries saying, does homicidal tendencies, does it run in your blood? Does it run in your DNA? So come to find out, his son is his stepson, and he didn't know about it. This is so good. These are my favorite fries. The ones that are soft. Yeah, what the heck? It's so sad what happened to these girls and the way that he disposed of their bodies. My heart goes out to the families involved. And it's just a really sad case. And it happened so close to my house. I remember watching when they were going through his backyard and searching his backyard and digging up, going through the shed. They had cadaver dogs. I remember watching that on the news. I was 15 at the time. That's all I have to share. I feel like I was just kind of all over the place. There was so much information, so much that I wanted to say, but I didn't want to make this video too long. It's kind of hard to talk and eat at the same time when I have so much information. If you know anything more about this case and you want to add it, go ahead and add it to the comments. I'm actually going to eat all my food. I tried to keep it somewhat low carb today because we're going to be going out for dinner for Jose's birthday. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have other true crime stories that you want me to cover, I'll do my best to, find whatever information I can about it. I have a few that are on my list. So yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.